RCR architect.
Sorry, I have just to say in touch with the sun, you don't want to get back to work. But it's good to remind you that we have 9 more, so it's a lot, and we need to respect the deadline. But at the same time, it feels great that I'm calling upon all European Union members to respect the deadline, because it was not an Albanian problem, as I saw. It was just the Europeans. And the only one that can be forgiven to not respect the deadline are the Brits, because they come from the shitty country and they need some sun. Oh my God, we were live TV, we were live? So British Embassy noticed what I said? It was just a joke, sorry.
So, hello, good morning to everybody. It's really a pleasure to be part of this architectural party. I think there is a big party, no? You always have this capacity to create this mood. And I think also during this work for the competition, we also have learned a lot of things, so thank you. Thank you to give us this opportunity. So we are RCR architects working with Bailey Roche and Upcons, and this is the master plan of the fifth park that we have been working on. So for us, this fifth park, it's the sacred mountain. If we are having to put a name of this park, will be this one. And this sacred mountain starts from the center of the city. So it's something, or it's a place that we have to reach. It's like a way. So this way starts here from Skanderberg. And it's nice also here to see how many Petras, how many people, how many citizens, how many religions they are here together. So it's something that inspired us very much. And also full of people in the prairie days. So we start a journey by car, 20 minutes, or maybe by bike, or on foot, or by a shuttle. So it's a journey, no, to reach this place. So, and then when you arrive, looking or going through a nice flourished borders of the landscape route, for example, no, facing to the, looking to this mountain. So, what is this way that starts in any part of the country? It's a way that at the end ends here to discover and admire the sacred mountain where people with multiple religions meet. So it's important to have this consciousness of this natural piece, that it's a Petra mountain. So Petra means pedra, no? It's something that it's very strong, and it's a mountain that it was venerated from Illyrians and also used by Romans. So it's not a place, a new place. It's a place also with a lot of layers coming from the ancient times to now. So, and for us was very important to really understand how the hospitality of Albania could embrace the main, we can say, 4 or 3 worldwide religions worlds. Because in fact there are 4,200 religions over the world, but we can classify them in a let's say 4 types or 4 groups. There are the cosmic religions. These are the aboriginal traditions and they are characterized by cultivating a sacred relationship with the earth and female divinities, no? And the religious element is the ritual. And then there is another big group where Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, which are the most important religions here in Albania, or the Abrahamic family are included, is when the cosmic horizon, that it was in the first group, has been replaced by the anthropological horizon. Sacredness is linked to singular people who have been recipients of a message. So then here is not a ritual or taboo, but it's the word and the law that predominates. So then the mother moves away to make room for the father. And then there are the oceanic religions located between the two extremes, cosmocentric and anthropocentrism. It's the third place. Beyond them, typical of the religious experience of Hinduism, Buddhism, and Taoism. But what is important here is instead of ritual or a speech, silence are cultivated. Through this silence, one reaches the same place to which ritual and a speech lead. And then also there are the sacred secularity, a phenomenon specific to the modern and contemporary West, but also in the past we can find some examples of that. So then the sacred character of this non-religious model consists in not separating the sacred from the profane. So it's nice to have this worldwide experience, and also it's important to understand also not only a small place, but also the whole Albanian, no? What happens about the whole Albanian, the traditions, and the way that here has been part of these religions took place. So we try to understand a little the whole about cultural religions and also the site in a wider scale. So again, no, from the airport, from other parts of the Albania, we can reach this Petra situation. And we started to think in the previous part of the competition, in the phase one, we thought it was very important to have a religious and intercultural place. We wanted to recover the landscape, and also we wanted to do like a spiritual ascent. For us, it was very important, this introduction of a journey. So now in the second phase, we are thinking and we are proposing three main concepts. That one is this path that comes from the bottom and reach the top. So it's a path, it's a way of getting something. The structures that we are putting on there, so this is a structures along the path, and these structures are talking about landscape, cultural, religious, so different kinds of structures, and also all of them could be found everywhere. Here we can find cultural, religions, and greenery. So how we can do all of this, and finally how to revitalize and to recover the mountain. And okay, for the path, we are finding the opportunity spaces, and also we are trying to make structures with vegetation scenographies. So it's something very related to the site. So this site is this site, it's not another site. So how we try to make a relationship with it and try to make something like a unique experience of that, no? So in this journey, we have established like 4 different levels, using for the second and the third level, using the spaces that already exist there as a pre-existence or spaces that has been used before. So we are from the bottom. We have a first level that we are calling welcome threshold, and then we are going to the knowledge agora to reach a third level that is the fifth agora, and also trying to arrive to the top, to the fourth level with the zenith. And in that point also to establish another way, another path that links the different historic pre-existence, let's say the tombs of Perskop, the ruins of the the Illyrian castle and also the walls on there. So how we are coming here, but also we are absorbing what was here in the past, for more ancient times or for more recent times, but trying to be part of that, to make a strong relationship with that, and trying to make only pointing these points, and also using the landscape and the colors of the landscape and the plantations to recognize this path coming from the bottom to the top. So this is the, let's say, the same. This is the plan where everything is being drawn. So we start in the other side of the river. So this is the Erzern River, and then we go up to this level, to the knowledge agora, and then to the third, and finally to the zenith. We'll see step by step, but to have a general overview about this path that we are putting there.
What is very important about this master plan, or about this path, is that we organize as a main axis that organize all of these levels. Starting from the welcome threshold, we can find a welcome pavilion and also some accommodations and a parking facility. From here, you go to the second level, where Karma said is the knowledge agora, where we will find the museum, the events place, and also another part of the accommodations in between or inside a huge gardens. It's very important for us to understanding this project as a concept of gardens, where all the programs are situated, inside of these gardens. These gardens, we understand a garden as the local Albanian landscape garden, also the Petrele Mountain landscape garden, and also the religions gardens that identify every part of these projects. From the second level, we arrive to the third level. We can find the Faith Agora, where it's more a community area where all these religions are together, and also you can find different cells to sleep in this part. And finally, we go to the spiritual zenith, where it's more about the individual arriving and having this connection with the sky and the landscape. Starting this journey, it's very important to know about if there is a pilgrim, or there is a family, or there is an event visitor. And starting with the first one, the pilgrim, that maybe will arrive walking to the welcome pavilion, and they will go walking up to the top. So starting from the bottom, from the river, they can cross this river, touching the water. It's very important to us to have this contact with the landscape. Crossing the river, crossing all these gardens where you can emphasize the landscapes of the religions, the landscape of the Albanian agricultural parts that we can find in these areas. It's very important that all this program is situated in the more anthropized parts of the mountains to have a respect with the other parts, or more the natural parts of the mountains. The pilgrim will arrive to this knowledge area where they can learn about the religions, they can also rest in the gardens, and finally arriving to the Faith Agora, where they can have this community activity about all the religions in one place. Finally, the final ascents that are more difficult, arriving to the top of the mountain and have more an individual experience. If we talk about families, maybe they can arrive by car or by a bus to the welcome pavilion. They will have an accommodation there, so they can sleep, and the next day they can go up. To have an universe accessibility to the second and the third part of the project, we establish a funicular that make this connection with the different layers. We have a funicular here, and another that goes to the third level, to the Faith Agora. Also, it's important to understand that there is a lot of people that maybe they can arrive directly by car to an event visitor, to the museum or the event place, and they will arrive here, they can have a park and just visit the museum or the conference area and go back to their home. And finally, it's very important for us also to understand that all of these people that are arriving here, they will have different sensations or different experience, because it's different not to take a 2-minute funicular or to walk 40 minutes in the landscape, understanding all this history that Karma is playing us about this place. Finally, this project is understanding as a master plan. So a master plan, it can go in time and in program. So the first phase, it will be this part of here that it's located in the center. That is the main program area, that it's the Knowledge Agora and the Faith Agora. And it's very important that on time, they can grow south or north to the Welcome Pavilion or to the Spiritual Zenith. For that, it's very important to understand that every area are very autonomous, and they have a little part of the program. They have accommodations in both of the 3 areas. They have a restaurant, and as Karma say, the religion and all the different programs are situated in every level of the project.
So if we starting from the bottom to the top, we establish this welcome threshold because we think in the future, because a lot of people will come here to visit and to enjoy the experience of this faith park. So we want to keep the mountain calm. So all of the big number of people could arrive down there, so using a big area for parking, and also having here spaces for, for also exhibitions, like digital ones. So it's something that makes a regulation of people for reaching the mountain. Then we go to the mountain and continues. So this is the plan. So this is where to leave the car, and this could be this welcome pavilion. And also this is the bridge to go to have the cable railway. And so we start also crossing the river. So it's the first touch with the water, this water that makes like a purification idea. So we start from the water, and then we are reaching up, looking to this, a lot of pieces with different kinds of colors of vegetation along.
Just to remind you about the time, 5 minutes remain.
Okay. And then when we go to the second level, this knowledge, this agora of knowledge, is very important to have the museum. And okay, we have this section where we see here the even structures and the museum there. So what is important is for these even structures, we are facing and see to the Tirana, and for the spaces for accommodation, they are a little under each terrace. But for the Museum of Remembrance, they are facing to the mountain and also taking part with the bunkers. So every part has the relationship with the pre-existing. Here the bunkers, and they are part of the mountain, and the museum covers that. And then for the Fedagora, so we are doing this from the Agora and going to the Zenith, but for the Agora we have a big cloud like a fog in the mountain. So there is a cloud that gives you the opportunity to have the same sky for all religions and for all the plants. So here we have this Agora with all of the plantations, flowers, plants, trees, and so, and the 3 main structures for the 3 main religions are there. And also a path going around all of these, and in this part also have some small pieces for accommodation. So we have these structures under this new way of doing architecture. Now maybe it's not the moment of the stone, or it's a moment of relationships, doing or knowing about the quantum physical, which things are not material, it's not more there, but relationships. So we are under this cloud, so in both sense, and also then there we have some spaces for rest, like here, which is this, you need to be there. So this is part of this deambulatory park, and also we are seeing this cloud on top of that, right? And we are in this park sharing and having this atmosphere for different religions here. So, and also these spaces are not really characterized by each one, so all of them has to try to put their own piece that trying to be more synthetic in order what they need in order to provide their own specific items that they recognize as their religions, and also one of which can also change for different religions. So in one day could be, or in 1 hour of the day could be a kind of ceremony, and in another hour of the day could be another one. So it's something more open and to this cloud of being. And also here, birds and other kind of animals could be also part of this experience of this fifth agora. So more and more we are going up. We decided at which level we stop and at which level we have the experience of this park. Because at the end it's a park. So, and the spiritual zenith, we go with a very small path that it depends on the mountain, how it looks. But finally, we are using a piece that already exists in the rock, and also we just excavate a little bit to make it closer in this site. So, no, we are trying to understand this part, so we arrive to this zenith, to this almost round area, and also in this pavement we can retain water, so that gives us also the opportunity to, we started crossing the river and finally we arrive here on the top of the mountain, but also touching water, and when we are passing to reach the main space, then we arrive in this space, so this is a rock, but already exists this space, but trying to get this connection with the sky. So finally, for us, the fifth part is the sacred mountain, and only the vegetation and a little cloud on top will be there for being seen and being experienced one by one, depends on their willing. And that's it. Okay.
Now the jury can start with the questions.
Thank you for the presentation. It's a question I actually perhaps also wanted to ask the previous, but I was not able. The Faith Agora is a space where all the religions share the same space?
They have the public space is shared. So the garden is for all, and maybe touching one could be a little bit different. The garden is for all, but then we have the three structures which are different. But they are 1, 2, 3, but also I think they could be also interchanged and also added with little differences. So because also you can be Christian Catholic or Christian Orthodox or Christian, you know. So it's something that maybe force you to know which are the elements that represent your religion and be there for maybe for a ceremony that is held from 9 to 10 and then another from 11 to 12. So I think this is because here we need maybe, I don't know, 3, maybe 4,000 structures. So maybe it's because there are 4,000 religions. So we only put 3 pieces because there are the 3 main religions in Albania. But the use of these spaces, for me or for us, it's not related directly to one, to only one. And also the way of being understood, so all of them, they have the same cloud or the same sky, and also the materiality wanted to be very, this is a glass made by a cast glass. It's not a transparent glass, it's a cast glass. So then you use like a sandstone, but with other kind of reflection. So maybe religions and the way of building has to be updated. No? We are taking the tradition, we are taking on board all the previous and all the existences and so, but maybe also we can prepare the conditions maybe to move a step forward. So
It's very important, but the cloud for us is understanding as Albania. No? Albania, it represents in this cloud, and all the religions are below this cloud or below the sky, no? As in Albanian community.
or relations.
Thank you for your presentation. It's well resolved, this aspirational pyramid that organizes all the needs of the program in that itinerary, to that Senate. I would like to hear more how architecture can reveal that sacred condition of space and how that could be part of that spiritual or Senate connection in the tip of the master plan.
Yes, from maybe we go back. No, we have the so the way of this architecture, no, it's a little bit different, no. So when we arrive on the top, so it's just only to use the existing Petra. This place exists. It's only to make it visible, right? So the intervention is only to make visible and to make possible to go there, to have this experience. This is one. For the part of the religions, it was this trying to have this new paradigm, no? So trying to have a common ceiling, but it's not a built ceiling. It's a ceiling made by relationships. There are pieces of steel very thin matching them. This is when they are saying there is no more material, no? The matter and the weight, it's the same. So it's something that moves from one side to another, and also the perception of the person change the movement of things, no? So in this situation, that it's very important how we are changing things in relation how we are looking to them. It's trying that we are trying to make this. So we are putting these things, taking the existing and trying to move forward. So, and then in the other, we are trying to make also this piece related to making the relationship with existing, no? So this museum, it has been done, it's facing to the mountain. So the museum and the nature are one thing, and also having this bunker. So, and this is more, let's say, more anthropological. So more on the top we are, more spiritual we feel, and more down, more more people, or more in the village, or more in civilization we are, no? In the bottom, for example, it's more something more functional and more from civilization. So it's something that also the architecture moves with this way coming up over the mountain, using also all the pre-existences. So it's this way.
To understand, it's kind of, let's say, the natural way of working with the terrain. It's one way, and then more you get cultivated, it's like more prosperous planting, like for the future? Is this the way you do the main garden? Like the colored garden that I see, is it a perennial garden?
We have different gardens. Yes, there are perennial and there are also non-perennial. So we are trying also to have a kind of colors, and these colors also change along the year. No?
And as
so it's a mixture. For example, in the part of the Fedagora, we have different trees, and in this part we have all the different trees. No, here we have this. So we are trying to make plantations to have these colors along the year.
But is it like an orchard feeling?
Yes.
It's because also
sorry.
no, because our program is situated almost always in the more anthropized parts of the mountain. So normally the more anthropized parts of the mountain are because they are agricultural. So we want to enhance in this path the more natural landscape that is the oak forest that is existing there. And is
where is it on the plan?
No, the forest, the oak forest,
yes.
all the mountain almost
the surrounding.
Is surrounding. But when we arrive to this space, to the places where we have these 4 levels, what we want to do is to enhance more this agricultural landscape. Sometimes it's related to the religions, but sometimes also can be related to the Albanian landscape. So incorporating different landscapes or different gardens, and this is more like this image that you can see here.
It's the agricultural way of thinking, let's say, the paths.
It can be an agricultural
just to understand.
way. Yes.
Yeah. More.
And then the center is a perennial that changes with the colors and more
More
futuristic, let's say.
Yes, more keeping in a kind of mood, no, to be decided in order to have these colors, white and
Thank you.
purple and so.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Zonja dhe zotrinj, vjoj me paraqitjen e 5 të projekt propozimeve për konceptimin e masterplanit të Parku të Besimit. Do ndjekim 20 minuta prezantim dhe më pas 10 minuta pyetje përgjigje me jurinë ndërkombëtare. Ftojmë në sken skuadrën e kryesuar nga studio Bolts and Wilson.
Is there a pointer somewhere? Thank you. Thank you very much, of course, for the invitation to be here for this exceptional project. I would like to say a few very short words about the theory of our project. We are architects. Our job is to give form to ideas. The ideas were given to us in the excellently presented program. And I'd like to summarize them in a few words. A place of reflection, interaction, harmony, diversity, understanding, unity, tolerance, interfaith coexistence. This is a fantastic program for an architect. The architect provides a vessel. A vessel is both a glass which holds water and a ship which floats on water. And the ship is obviously a very strong religious metaphor. I would like to start by launching straight in. We've lost the top of our picture. On top of this picture, there are some towers, which we'll see later in my presentation. When the visitor turns the corner and first sees the Faith Park, they see prayer rooms on top of the mountain. One is Islamic and one is Christian. I think this first view tells the whole story of the park, Christian and Orthodox sharing the same platform, the Abrahamic platform. It's this very unfortunate piece of presentation here. Thank you. So we have the Islamic prayer room, Christian prayer room. You see they are both exactly the same. They are vessels, they are containers. It's only when we get inside we see they're different. At the bottom edge of the park, close to the road, easy for access, we have an arrival zone where all of the programs we were given are grouped. This is the roundabout we all drove around this morning, everyone who came here. When the tour guides bring their bus around this corner, they will tell the visitors to the Faith Park that the architects modeled their building forms on the Albanian hat, the plissy. It's a very beautiful, pure geometric form. Yeah, plissy, this is much wider than I think Albanian hats are, plissies are, but it's to do with our extreme technology here today. When the bus arrives at the entrance zone, visitors are confronted by a giant Buddha statue. And the Buddhism is not an Albanian religion, but there are 500 million Buddhists worldwide, and Buddhism is very important to a faith discourse. And so our intention is here in the entrance for visitors to walk past this 40-meter-long Buddhist statue. The Buddhist statue is here, and right beside it, the entrance to the introduction hall. On top of the introduction hall are the program buildings that we were given in the program to accommodate. The rest of the park is nature. These trees that you see are all existing trees. And at the top, the Abrahamic platform. I will go through these buildings first. This is an elevation the visitors face. Here's the entrance, the introduction hall. On top of that is a plant and tree pavilion, a glass house. Here is a memorial to the victims of communism. Here is a conference room, and here is a wellness hotel. These are all lined up like different options of the Faith Park. And here is a cafe with a pergola. The problem of the Faith Park is we have a very big mountain. I think the problem is people will not walk up a mountain like this. We have to get people to the top. But let me go a bit further first. Yeah, here are the plans this is the elevation of the entrance. One sees the plan at entrance level, a very expansive entrance hall with an information wall telling people what's on offer in the Faith Park. Here's a workshop for school kids, school classes underneath the plant pavilion. Here's the Hall of Remembrance, a sacral and oratic space. And here's the conference room. These are all connected to the entrance hall, also the lobby of the wellness hotel. On the entrance plaza, the roof of this level, there are roof lights for the entrance hall, then the tree and plant pavilion, the Hall of Remembrance, conference, hotel again. This is a very close packing of all the programmatic requirements. We keep these all at the bottom so we don't have to build big buildings right across the site. Our intention, first some detail of the entrance hall, a sketch, people arriving, information. There's a lift which goes up inside the tree and plant pavilion, or a monumental staircase which leads up to the park inside the Hall of Remembrance. The Hall of Remembrance, our model for this, is the Neue Wache in Berlin by Karl Friedrich Schinkel, a very sacred oratic room. And we imagine this as an empty room. Behind it we have a niche which will have more exhibition information, maybe the names of victims. And our model for this is the House of Leaves by Elisabetta Tirani in Tirana. We would very much like to get our friend Elisabetta to do the interior of this exhibition. So our visitors have arrived here. There's a possible ticket office, merchandising, toilets which for everybody who visits, or the hotel or the conference. And the organization of the landscape is in 3 zones. The entrance zones we have just seen, the entrance zone cluster. At the top, the Abrahamic religions, an Abrahamic platform. And in the middle, our major work on the park is concentrated in a 5-hectare zone We do not want to change the landscape of the whole mountain. We want to keep existing trees, also in this central zone. So the question is, how do we get up to the Abrahamic platform? First, the topography. The topography here, because of the steep hill, for us the topography is the generator. We see on the site, or what we found on the site, there are, at the top of the hill there are quarries here. These red lines are quarries. Also on the south side of the hill is a quarry. These are scars in the landscape. They provide flat surfaces possible for building, so we do not have to damage the landscape by building big buildings in the middle of the forest. So the topography as generator, or the idea of the topography as generator, the concept is a reference to the Villa d'Este in Tivoli near Rome, a very steep sloping site. In the Villa d'Este there are outdoor rooms cut into the hill. We are also proposing to use this typology of outdoor room cut into the hill. We have 15 theme gardens, which look very like this. Next question is, how do we get up the hill? We have here a funicular railway, or we call it the cosmic egg funicular. But first we have to get to the top of the hill. The top of the hill is the Abrahamic platform. This is actually the most important drawing of our presentation. You will see it is not an AI construct, it is my own hand drawing. We have on the left Islamic pavilion with Arabic text connecting to a Bektashi pavilion. And this is not a mosque, these are prayer rooms. A Bektashi pavilion with a green floor and a candelabra, and here a minaret. So this is the Islamic side. In the middle, a pool, and here the Christian end of the Abrahamic platform. This is an Orthodox prayer room with icons on the wall connecting to a Catholic prayer room, and totally independent, because they left the church, a Protestant prayer room. And these are all bottle-shaped rooms, or very simple rooms like the Albanian Plissi hut. Very, very simple architecture. The only difference is that the Christian rooms have blue glass on the ground, and the Islamic rooms have orange glass at the ground. Here's a plan of the Abrahamic platform. So here we arrive in our funicular railway. In the middle is a pool with fish, like the Alhambra Gardens. And visitors, when they arrive, they will see that it's like standing in a mirror. These two buildings are absolutely identical from the outside, Islam and Christianity. Behind the Christian, or the Orthodox, Catholic, and Protestant prayer rooms, there is a labyrinth and a garden snake, Christian mythology. And behind these is a steep wall with a staircase, hanging gardens. Buried in this steep wall are toilets for visitors and washrooms here for behind the Islamic rooms. Also a fountain in the middle. The Orthodox prayer rooms, we're proposing a hanging of icons. This is the icon museum in Korça, which our office has done. A Petersburg hanging, beautiful icons all clustering close on a wall. I mean, we would like to use icons like this. Perhaps we will have to use facsimiles. So here we are at the top, the Abrahamic platform, a sketch of the Orthodox, a section through the Orthodox prayer room. Here the funicular arriving, and here a cascade stair moving down. We'll get to the cascade stair in a minute. I have to go back, sorry. Beyond, the Abrahamic platform has Islam, Christianity, and it has to also have the Hebrew religion. And there is a second quarry above the first quarry here. Here we have the Tabernacle of Moses. The Tabernacle of Moses is, for the history of architecture, a really important building. It's the only building designed by God himself. God, when he gave Moses the 10 Commandments, he also said, build a tabernacle. He said the tabernacle should be 100 by 50 cubits, which translates for us into 44 by 22 meters. The tabernacle is a mobile temple for the nomadic Hebrews to build in the desert. One sees it here. It has a fence around the edge made up of carpets hung between pins. And then there's the profane world is the outside. Inside is the sanctuary, made from wooden planks. The instructions from God were very precise, that the sanctuary should be made from wooden planks with a roof made from animal skins and then ram skin. And inside the sanctuary there's, this is a Hebraic diagram of Moses receiving the architectural specifications for the tabernacle from heaven. Inside the sanctuary there's a curtain, and behind the curtain is the Holy of Holies. In the Holy of Holies there's the altar, which has the Ark of the Covenant, the seven-armed candelabra, 2 cherubims protecting the whole thing, and some Hebrew bread. I think, I'm not a theologian, but our intention is to make a facsimile of the tabernacle of Moses on the second quarry at the top of the hill. Here we see it in plan view, the tabernacle directly behind the Abrahamic platform. In fact, all 3 of these are the Abrahamic platform. The question how to get up is with this funicular railway. The funicular railway is egg-shaped. We call it the cosmic egg. This is the cosmic egg going up and down. It's a very logical system. And the cosmic egg is a foundation mythology for many religions. Primordial origin myth. For the Indians, it's in the Vedic myth, the cosmic egg split, and the upper part became heaven, the lower part became earth. Zoroastrian tradition, the creator gathered turbulent material into a great egg. For the Chinese primal egg, the Chinese primal egg broke open and into opposites, yin and yang. In Finland, a duck laid 4 eggs on the sea of the goddess, or on the knee of the goddess of the sea. 1 broke and became land, sky, stars, and sun. For the ancient Egyptians and East African Dogon tradition, there are also eggs. Also, the Slavic god of fire was within an egg. The ancient Greeks called the egg the Orphic egg. It was wrapped by the snake Orphon. It also broke into 2 parts. The cosmic egg is also not only part of religious theory, but also part of scientific theory. The Big Bang theory of Lemaitre. The Big Bang, cosmic matter was all clustered, and when it exploded, it became the universe. So what one sees in our funicular railway, we have, I can see Eddie laughing, we have the idea is that these mythologies would be written on the walls of the cosmic egg. This is a drawing, cosmic egg in section, in plan. The cosmic egg can take 50 people up to the top. I think the traveling to the top is part of the religious experience of our faith path. So we have got our people to the top, they go up in the cosmic egg, they've experienced the Abrahamic platform, and they can walk down, a gentle walk down, a downward strolling. They can walk gently down this zigzag path, visiting 15 themed gardens, or if they are people who know the park, they take the quick route down and find their favorite
Just to remind
themed
you
garden.
about the time. 5 minutes left.
Okay, almost finished. So we now only have 15 theme gardens to visit. We can do it in 5 minutes. This staircase, this is the artist in our team, Doug Patterson, who has already built a cascade staircase like this for a private client. And he works in the Islamic Mughal style with Indian craftsmen. So we have that skill in our team. This is a digital rendering, not a hand drawing, digital rendering of the Faith Park with 15 pavilions scattered between the cosmic egg and the cascade. One sees people walking, zigzagging down. I will try in my remaining 4 minutes to go through each of the... Oh, I've forgotten the Islamic Hammam Hotel. On the south side of the mountain is another quarry, and here we have placed another Islamic garden and a Hammam Hotel with 24 rooms. One sees here the Hammam Hotel dialoguing across the valley with the Petra Castle. This is the existing quarry. We are not changing the landscape here. We're simply using the conditions we found. The Hammam Hotel has 24 rooms. At the top, women's bathing with hot, warm, cool and cold baths. And the same baths are found in the basement for men. The men and women obviously separated in a hammam. This hotel is accessed by an existing road and has its own car park. The 15 theme gardens, I don't have time to go through them all. There's one with 3 gongs and an olive tree. There's a Zoroastrian theme garden. This is an Illyrian icon, a shamanistic religion from Albania. There's tables for discussion under a vine pergola. The theme gardens all have walls made from basalt stone. This is basalt stone we used in our theatre in Korça, a traditional Albanian building method, black stone, white mortar joints. More theme gardens, a blue monolith, no, a green marble monolith with rooms inside for private contemplation. And these rooms also have a Faraday cage, so mobile phones will not work inside them. So one steps inside the blue marble and has no connection to the world. On this side we have Krishna. I'm very fond of Krishna. He's blue. I think Krishna is the only blue god. So this is a garden of Krishna with a giant divan seat. This is a ring of swings, a communal activity where people swing together. So one hopes it's a place of exchange. Here is a ball of hope and a wishing
1 minute
wall.
left.
Okay. Fountains. A cloud at the top. And an event space. So, yeah, an event space for Albanian weddings underneath a canopy of lanterns, something we found in a Korean temple, the Albanian wedding. Thank you very much.
Now the jury is welcome for the questions.
I want to ask a question. I want to understand more about the visual language of these buildings in terms of material, texture, color. What have you thought about that?
And the visual language is very simple. It's natural stone, the basalt stone, and mostly it's gardening. And we're not trying to impose an architectural style. The prayer rooms are very simple. They are white, probably plastered, hopefully mosaic surface so that they are resistant against weather. But just very, very simple architecture.
Thank you for the presentation. I want to ask you about the frontality of this project, also the kind of symmetry that you propose with the Islamic and the Christian towers in this place, which is a mountain that brings together different religions. Can you speak more about your proposal in this sense?
We see our proposal as being iconic objects way up on top of the mountain. I didn't describe it. There's also a cross, which is at the same time a water tank to give a head of water for the fountains. And the hammam is also part of this ensemble of objects on top of the hill. I imagine it being like Montmartre in Paris, this big dome on top of a hill, which is sort of self-focusing, sort of self-explaining. I mean, I don't want to put a large theory on top of it. I mean, for me, architecture needs to be self-explanatory.
Any more questions? Thank you very much.
Sorry, I just have one more question, or just a comment. I have two questions, actually, and this was more to go specifically on the form of the architecture, because you said it's quite simple, but I just wanted to understand from the form what inspiration specifically for those large monoliths in the middle. But my second question is, I wanted to understand more maybe the vision behind this, because from all of the proposals we've seen, it seems like yours is the most playful. And this is something I think a lot of people don't over consider, which is more the guest experience, and how do you make it attractive for everyone to come? Because religion obviously is much more, it's about spirit, it comes with much more of a serious tone, but it feels a lot that your theme gardens are much more, let's say, playful, and it seems like you're inviting families and kids to, I might be wrong, but I just want to understand that a bit more. What was it, the inspiration behind making it a bit more?
You're absolutely right about playful, but playful does not mean superficial. And I think in the English language, when you're most serious, you make a joke, which is an apology for being serious. I once saw the Dalai Lama do that. It was very impressive, and he laughed when he said something really serious. I think for us, then, architecture is about people discovering it and interpreting it themselves. We don't like architecture which puts the meaning from top down onto people. I think and this garden has to be a place of discovery. People have to walk through and say, hey, there's a blue god here. Or, hey, there's a swing, let's swing. I think everyday activities like this can have a symbolic dimension. But I must say, I think humor is the right word, but it's not humor, it's like a joy in life.
Peter, just to clarify about me smiling, it was about the Albanian cosmic egg, because I was thinking, because we always tend to see the tragic side of everything, so I was thinking if this Albanian cosmic egg will break, it will be a world news.
This is Albania, not Portugal.
So, no, I just want to ask, I want to ask about the concrete side of this beautiful cosmic egg in terms of producing it and in terms of security. So this is something, it exists, or we will have to produce, or you know.
It exists maybe 50 times in Switzerland, but their cabins are boxes and not eggs. But the only difference is the shape of the cabin.
Yeah, because in Switzerland they don't have eggs; they have only boxes, for chocolates and for. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Okay, chocolate eggs, very good.
Thank you.
Zonja dhe zotrinj, vijojmë me paraqitjen e 6 të projekt propozimeve për konceptimin e masterplanit të Parku të Besimit. Do të ndjekim 20 minuta prezantim dhe më pas 10 minuta pyetje-përgjigje me jurinë ndërkombëtare. Ftojmë në skenë skuadrën e kryesuar nga studio Casanova and Hernandez Architects.
On stage. Hello, good afternoon. I'm very glad to be here presenting this project. For this project, we create international teams of experts, with including local team with Talan Dibra, Tapio Rosenuis, that is an artist, expert in light. And this project, for me, it is an idea that is coming not now, it's coming from more than 10 years ago, and then it's an idea that I think is evolving in time, and I find it interesting because there were other competitions, Park of Faith, and then it's something that is going on till now, one moment that I think is the point, crystallization, and could be realization. I think there are three main elements in this project to make it a successful project. The first one is to create a specific identity and symbolism related with Albania. We're not talking here about other parts of the world. I think we have enough material, enough interesting subjects to focus in Albania. The second one is a minimum narrative. The narrative is very important because, in my opinion, the narrative should be first focused in Albanian people, like educational narrative and explaining history, explaining many things. The second one could be much more a narrative that is for other audiences that they are coming from abroad, that they are inspiring narrative. So how Albania can inspire the world. In that sense, well, the third topic that is very important as well is sustainable planning and management, social, economical, for sure, and environmental sustainability, but also the management, how the management of this complex could run in the future. That is something very important if we understand Albania right now. Well, the first topic important is, for me, is a specific identity. And in that sense, we work with several layers of symbolism. The first level of symbolism is related with the idea of Albania is protecting religions. That's very important because for us, the Albania protecting religion is a kind of shelter of religions. In that sense, for instance, religion head coverings and domes are functional and symbolic elements that represent all religions. If you see all these kind of head coverings, they have different shapes, different colors, different decoration. But also you think in the domes, the idea of the dome is a generic object that happens in all the cultures around the world, but they have different shapes, different decoration. All of them transmit the light to the interior and then produce this symbolism of God in the same way that the religious head has a lot of symbolism behind. Thinking about what could be the element shelter, let's say, religions in Albania, I think the kelesh is one of the elements that is playing with all this kind of series of elements, and we create what we call the kelesh dome. So it's a dome that is protecting all religions symbolically, and at the same time, we are going to generate some programs. The other point that I think is very important to understand is, in many countries, there are freedom of religions, and many religions are cohabiting in the same space, but the religions are not mixed. So for instance, in the Netherlands, we have Christians, Catholics, and we have Muslims. All of them live together, but they live in different communities. On the contrary, in Albania, the people are much more mixed. There are marriages between different religions. And for us, the way to symbolize this is creating these symbols that they are not separated together, but they are merging all of them together. By merging the symbols, we symbolize that we can create structures, and these structures could be patterns, or could be shelters, could be canopies, suspended ceilings, space in the interiors of the buildings, or even urban furniture, or the symbol or the icon of this park. By combining the two elements, we create something that is called the kelesh of faith. So for us, symbolize what is particularly interesting in the identity of Albania, where you can see all the religions and we create large space inside. This space is a kind of distinct visual landmark that distinguishes this park from other parks in the world. Because we have to know that similar parks to this, there are more than 30 parks around the world. Most of the times are thematic parks that display in different religions and they create different narratives. But in our opinion, it's important to focus in this narrative that is very, very particular and interesting. The second point is this narrative, how could be meaningful. So means not an attraction only, but to communicate things and to educate and to create something like that, something more like that. So for that, what was presented in the competition brief, like a museum of remembrance, we think it's more appropriate to call it Albanian Museum of Interfaith Harmony. Why? If we focus only in the negative part of the history of Albania, that is repression and communism, I think we are losing the most important part, that is how we achieve this interfaith. Then, of course, we have to explain in this line the other part, because it's part, are the two sides of the same coin. So these two sides, we represented with this kind of museum, that is the Museum of Albanian Interfaith Harmony, where in the upper part, there are one part that is more thematic, explaining the interfaith in Albania. And in the lower part, underground, is the museum where we explain chronologically how, in certain moment from the 40s, Albania lost the freedom of religions was repression, and then in certain moment how this freedom came up to the surface. This is a little complicated to explain, but to connect the two words, we were inspired by one painting from Colli Dromeno. It's called The Two Ways, The Two Paths of Life. Colli Dromeno made design churches and mosques, for instance, and in this one he painted Muslims and Christians choosing go to heaven or to hell. For us, this kind of representation of the collage of faith, the upper part is the symbolic heaven, and the lower part is the symbolic hell. Of course, the two paths are designed like a double spiral in a way that the visitors can go to the top, to the heaven, and suddenly, well, after that, coming back to the hell, in a way that everything is a continuous loop where we can go to hell and heaven constantly. This reminds us something important, that history is cycle. And if in the bottom part we have the repression of religions, well, the two things should be combined to each other. This is the upper part where visitors visit a series of platforms. Each platform has a theme. We talk from the Interreligious Council of Albania, that is something, IRCA, that was created after communism, but the religious tolerance as cultural value, of, for instance, BESA and the protection of religions. So we select 7 themes that we think is important to explain to the public in detail. When you go to the symbolic hell, we distribute again 7 galleries. Of course, 7 is a number that has symbolism in heavens and in religions, of course. So we go, in this case, chronologically. It's not thematic exhibition. We go from the religious coexistence in the 44. So we explain how was the situation in relation with the upper part. Then in the 44, there is the banning of religions, destruction, anti-religious propaganda, the atheists, well, a series of exhibitions till in certain moment we go to the top with the bottom, and we start going up with the restitution of freedom in Albania. So what is interesting in this scheme is that architecture plays an important role to transmit feelings and emotions without speaking. So for that, we work with gravity and movement, so creating ramps that makes people to walk through in direction to the hell, indicating how easy it could be in certain moment to lose these kind of freedoms. And in certain moment when you ascend and you see all the stories that we had to tell, you understand how difficult it was to recover all this kind of freedom of religions. Of course, there are other parameters, like, for instance, the natural light. When you go to the bottom, the light is decreasing. There are the views, the sound. So we try to play with architecture to transmit messages. And this is the experience that you get in this park. So here around the dome, we have the faith gardens, that there are different gardens with plants that I will explain now later. And then when you access to this dome of a collage of faith, you will see this vertical space with the light filtered by this kind of pattern, of interfaith pattern, and these 7 platforms. When you go to the platforms, you will see different topics. Each time is a topic, there is a kind of interpretation panel explaining the topic, but also a symbolic tree that is related with this topic. Here, for instance, in the previous one, we have something related with BESA and the protection of all religions in the platform 3, for instance. In the platform 4, we have the national identity. How important was this idea of national identity for unifying all religions? When you go to the bottom part, to the underground part, it's a descending ramp. Here you see the year 44 with the banning and repression, with the first courts for religious people. And on the right side, you can see all people that they were incarcerated, tortured, and killed. it's important to remember all these faces and to see like a memorial in that part. The destruction of the religious heritage, more than 2,000 buildings were destroyed during this period. Here you can see not only the buildings, artifacts, religious artifacts, books, and then in this space that you see, we go down in this kind of hell. All the exhibitors came from the floors, from the ceiling, from the sides, and then we have movies like the destruction of the Church of Bauides, for instance. We have all this material in the archives. So the whole thing is an experience till we arrive to the central space of this dome. This is a double high space where there are a kind of immersive experience where artists, visual artists, historians can create their interpretation of this topic. When you are in the bottom of this story is the institutionalized atheism. So it means when the atheism was in the Constitution. That's the bottom of this. Because from that moment, all these people that are on the right side, they start to pray at home to hide symbols. And then was a movement of resistance. And then it's the moment the ramp starts going up. Here you can see the place to pray in direction Mecca. Or some elements, we have documentation of Christians that they hide the symbols in the ceilings. And then, little by little, we go up and we go to the light again. And here is more the restitution of the religious freedom with the demonstrations and with the first time Mother Teresa came to Albania when it still was a dictatorship. A little by little, the messes and celebrations were in Shkodra and other cities. So around this museum, we have the Faith Gardens. And the Faith Gardens is, the design is based on 3 circles connected to each other, intersecting, that they are representing the Abrahamic religions. So in reality, what we found interesting of this scheme is that the Christians and Jews are sharing many common elements of Islam and Christianity. So by creating circulation for these gardens, in a way that visitors can visit in this kind of paths, you pass from Christianity to Islam, and even some spaces in between. So in this area, we have small chapels that they are related with the different religions. We have a lot of plants that they are representing, and they are telling stories to the public. So the interpretation is very important in this project, because it's a thematic botanic garden. So each plant has something related with botanics, but is something related also, has something related with the sacred books. In this case, for instance, each exhibitor is designed like open book, because each palm or tree or whatever, we can find all these kind of stories and we can make this kind of inter-religious connections. These are the spaces, the sacred spaces, that we design all of them for the different religions exactly with the same dimensions. So 8 meters diameter and with different shapes, let's say, because the idea of this park is to understand that the religions in Albanian society, they have equal weight. We didn't want to emphasize one religion over the other, and we didn't want to take elements from tradition. So create new icons for religions. So here you can see the Islamic one, the Christian one, or the Jewish one. And at the end of each sacred space, let's say, there are a room where will be sacred, let's say, artifacts.
Just to remind you about the time, 5 minutes.
Yes. Well, I will explain very quick the planning. Well, there are 4 elements. So the main element is the number 2 that is in the center, a gate, and this is the number 1. A 3 is a space for events, and then the space for hospitality is number 4. The entrance from the bottom part, we don't touch any private property to avoid problems, but if it is needed, we do it in the future. We don't enter in the protected area of the archaeological area because we find it very conflictive, so it's not necessary in our opinion. We place everything in relating with the vegetation in a way that when the altered vegetation, we make the bigger buildings, and we adapt our building to the topography. And this is the plan with the 4 zones, path around the area, with the area for hotel on the top part. Here you have the entrance. Interface canopy, this is an important element for the sustainability related with events, where we can do concerts, exhibitions. The forest that is designed by artificial trees. Oops. The interiors are in relation, natural materials in relation with the landscape. Healing spaces, here we work with the four elements, like water, fire. Here you see earth, fire in areas for groups, and air. And Tapi is going to explain something related with art, light design that is reinforcing these ideas.
So we finish off with light, and light is an incredible enabler of collective experiences, of shared experiences. And now with digital light, we have these opportunities to create ever-changing experiences. One of the few architectural elements that truly can change every night, every second. So our proposal here is to create an ever-changing nighttime experience that becomes a way to different communities to celebrate their different high days, or indeed celebrate things together. And this is something that, a part of being very experiential, deeply moving, also potentially very spiritual to people, it's also something that's highly operational. So what's behind this is something we've done before, where we extend the opening hours of the project by 30% with the light experience. We have proven with data that we have increased the visit length by 40% through nighttime experiences. We also can create this as a ticketed experience. It's a separate for the day. So you come back, you create reasons to come back. And on our previous project, we increased the ticket price between the day and night by 200%. People yearn for these kinds of immersive experiences. They're highly, highly popular, and I think very sustainable in long term. So realistically, we have, for example, achieved 1.6 million nighttime visitors for a project that has 400,000 daytime visitors. So this becomes a very important opportunity to recoup the investment, to have a new kind of reason to visit, but also to pay for the maintenance of the entire project. So nighttime experience, apart from being potentially highly meaningful, very tastefully done, very digital, but in an embedded way, is then also a new business model. Thank you.
Thank you. Now the jury are welcome for the questions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Can you tell us about the park, the feeling of the garden that we have? The garden, the feeling?
Yeah. I will go back to that slide. Okay, what we found interesting or important is don't understand the whole area like a garden, like a only to concentrate the interventions in center points. Let's see if it is. Okay, maybe it's visible in this one. So what you see here is, this is the garden that has bigger interpretation, and it's much more under control. So we minimize the area, but we maximize the experience. So by concentrating this here, the paths, okay, here we play with a lot of different pieces, and it's quite challenging, and it's a botanic garden, so we have to irrigate, we have to have a control. So with this way, in this way, what we try is to create most of the area untouched. So the interventions are not spread everywhere. For instance, here along the path, we have viewpoints and we have other elements. But at least in the garden, the idea is when you are in the, this is the circle of Islam, and you are circulating with that, you get a sequence of plants, visions of the water, the reflection, then you get an experience. But when you go out and you enter another one, you will get another different experience. And if you go in one direction or in the other, you will get different experiences. So what we try is to concentrate and to be much more effective, but much more effective because we don't want to touch the whole area. We were quite sensitive with existing, but also to create something much more remarkable, that one complete park that is very difficult to move people to the top part. Because if you see, most of the interventions are located in the lower part. That is very easy accessibility. And the hotel and all these areas, they have a road on the top. But we didn't want to expand this idea with irrigation channels to the whole area. Because on that way, we create something also original, and we keep the authenticity of the place.
Thank you.
I have a question. You said at some point that the religions in Albania have equal weight, but the religions have equal weight, so they are all next to each other. But of course, they are not the same, and they all have different traditions and different rituals. And when you have this interfaith canopy, is this a convergence of spaces and traditions, or can you?
This, I refer only to the spaces, the prayer spaces, that there are spaces for meeting, not referring to, not symbolizing the religions itself. Inside the exhibition area, we have an area, the complete section 1, we explain the whole history of interfaith in Albania. And then we understand chronologically how this happened. So, of course, there are majority of Muslims, there are different groups with different amounts, but what I mean is in terms of interfaith in relation with the country, should be treated equally, all of them. And then we don't want to differentiate them. Only, I mean, it's like these heads, religious heads. All of them, they have similar shape, and they have the same diameter, but they have different symbols. They have different colors, and at the end, symbolize something different. And that's interesting for me, that we understand between certain kind of generic design, also differences. But that's not the idea to represent anything there. Are there spaces for praying? And when they enter in these kind of rooms, that's the part, honestly, I don't know what is there. When you open this room, I feel that we have to design something special, but should be something meaningful for them. But the other space is more neutral because it's a space for gathering.
Thank you. I'm just wondering, looking at some of these renderings, do you imagine that this is a park or a place where people, it will be for living practice? For living practice. Do you imagine that people will come here weekly or monthly for religious or interfaith gathering and dialogue? Or is it, because I think some of the way that the experience and the business is described feels a little bit like a theme park, or like somebody might, have a ticketed experience to an exhibition, and the focus is perhaps, I understand that there are prayer spaces, but they feel like there's much less of a focus on the everyday aspect of the project.
Okay, I think it's, for instance, we didn't want to create churches or mosques in this area because there are mosques and churches in the whole Albania. We wanted to create a space for meeting and for people to join, like we have the other, I didn't explain very well because it was very, very quick presentation. But for instance, we have some areas where spaces for religions, for other kind of celebrations, but concerts, let's see, we arrive to this. I passed too quick, probably. Okay, This area is an area for meeting people and then doing things together for different religions. And that's the area where there is a central space for concerts, for religious celebrations. But it's mixed at the same time with exhibitions and all kind of activities. So what we understand, this place could be interesting for many people of different religions, do activities together, but not a space, I mean, could be a space, small chapels, but we don't understand that people are going to come here to pray. They have mosques, they have their neighborhoods, they are attached to their lives. So if doesn't matter, doesn't mean that cannot be done. But I think it's not the main purpose of this project. That's why we detach a little bit from the cliché of what is a church in Petra or the stone and this architecture, because we don't think this is the topic. For that, you have real churches, real mosques. We don't have to create new ones here. I think that's my impression.
Any more questions?
If you don't design the overall landscape as such, but you leave it basically untouched, as you said, I think, how do the different areas, the canopy, the museum area, the hotel area or accommodation area come together as a whole? Or are they perceived in the end as separate entities in the landscape that do not really share anything other than being in the vicinity, but what do they share really if there's no designed overall landscape?
Yeah, there is a system of paths, of course, that is, of course, the whole from the entrance that is here, from the entrance that is in this position, you can start a series of paths. The paths are their elements that they are bringing attention and tension. So for instance, in the hotel, we have some spaces for meditation or for cafes that they are from this area. For instance, you can reach this other area. And the idea in one of the plans are small interventions in the landscape that they are more resting areas, each one designed differently. I think in principle, all the areas religious structures, like was mentioned, are really here around this, but we have other key points that they have views over the landscape or whatever. This, what we understand is the path is the important thing, is to go around the whole park, visiting areas, and of course here should be some attractive element, here another ones, in a way that the visitors, they will stay the whole day visiting elements. Other important thing is the pattern of events. So this, our vision of this is that it's a space for where there are going to be celebrations, events, exhibitions, concerts, there will be presentations, and then this is going to create a dynamism in the movement of people. That's the part of interesting for us, that is the management of the whole complex, that we bring the possibility with partners to put programming the whole center. That's quite difficult, but it's the important thing, I think.
How do you see the connection aesthetically between the dome and the healing forest?
The dome and
the connection in terms of aesthetics between the dome and the healing forest, because it's a bit linked to the point before. They feel a bit disconnected.
I think the healing forest is made of several units that we design like trees, inserting in the landscape. Let's go to that point. Okay, these are designed like trees where are integrated in the landscape. So the different trees, they have different functions. And then the idea behind is, even if they look similar, some of them are spaces for relaxation, some of them are spaces for exhibition. So the idea is we can continue programming the whole healing forest and then create tension for visiting. But anyway, this I think is the interesting part of the economic sustainability of the plan. This could be a private investor who is programming this and creating spaces for religious groups, other groups to occupy that. But at the end, we need to have a complete park with activities, with tension, in a way that is sustainable also economically. That's why commercial facilities are important. Respecting, of course, certain respect for religion. That's why in the dome, all the Kelesh dome, Kelesh of Faith, and the garden are a little bit separated to the most commercial facilities, that they are a little bit apart. So we want to create a space that you don't feel is commercial. Also, ticketing and many aspects could be at the entrance of the park, because on that way you enter, we'll see what is the management system. I don't know yet. But we are giving the possibility. If at the end it's totally public and not ticket-free, could be perfect for me as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Zonja dhe zotrinj, ju falenderojmë për vëmendjen dhe ju ftojmë të dalim jashtë për pushimin e drekës tek fustanena përballë. Ju ftojmë të ritakohemi sërish në orën 14:30.